With the release of Pokemon Legends Arceus, we were granted similar, almost primal-esque forms like the ones from Oras and Origin form Palkia and Origin form Dialga. These forms were required to hold their respective special items, but in exchange, they received stat buffs in a unique fashion you can see on screen, as well as more damage output on their stab-type moves. Although in the singles tier of UUbers, Palkia Origin has been one of the best Pokemon in the format, Origin Dialga has not seen as much success, and actually fares much worse than its original base form that was released 17 years ago. What is going on with Origin form despite its better stats with the same great defensive typing? Before I go in on this, let me explain what UUbers is. This is a new fan-made Smogon tier that takes the usage stats of Ubers and creates a separate tier below for all those Pokemon and Ubers who don't hit the 4.52% usage point. This tier is designed to let old Pokemon like Shaman Sky shine in the metagame that would have otherwise difficulty do so in Ubers, and as of this video, there's a huge $230 tournament happening in UUbers Discord channel, which is linked down below in the description and in pinned comments, so be sure to go check that out, as well as more information on the tier. Let us look at Dialga and why it's so good in the UUbers metagame. Dialga is a slow, defensive-minded Pokemon with one of the best typing a defensive Pokemon could ask for. Steel and Dragon gives it excellent resistances and provides key defensive coverage like against the popular Magearna, Ice Arceus with its Bolt Beam coverage, and Shaman Sky. Steel is also to even avoid a lot of the hazard stack teams and avoid a lot of unnecessary damage compared to other Pokemon, even being immune to toxic and toxic spikes. Speaking of Arceus, because of its typing, it is the counter to the most popular Arceus set you see on screen, being able to switch on it with ease and use its utility moves to stop it in its tracks with T-Wave, Roar, Dragon Tail, etc. In addition, stored power sets, for example like Espathra and Fairy coverage, does not stop it either. Rather, it is known in the tier for being one of the best in handling both situations, and when you combine that with its good turnaround with its amazing offensive capabilities without really much investment, it makes it one of the best Pokemon on both sides of the field. 150 base special attacking stats allows it to bomb Draco Meteors from bulky Dialga sets, as it does relatively high damage. Not many Pokemon are able to come in anytime and just take free stab uninvested 150 base Draco Meteors from this beast. And being uninvested and still being really strong is what has allowed Dialga to take advantage of its typing and bulk, as it can invest its defense and HP pretty safely afterwards. Dialga is one of the best Pokemon, but it comes with one of the biggest flaws defensive Pokemon could ever have, and that is with recovery. To bring this example to light, let us use Garganacl into this example. Without having the move Recover, Garganacl will not be the same annoying defensive salty Pokemon that it is. Recover allows for field position from your side of play and allows for more dynamic defensive options further down the battle. Gliscor is also another great example, and despite losing Roost, having that option to recover HP through Poison Heal has allowed it to float in the OU tier, well, I guess more than float, and actually be really dominant. Any popular defensive Pokemon from Garganacl to Alomomola, etc. are great and staples in the respective metagames because of the ability to regain field position through HP recovery. And when we look at Smogon's OU tier, the only other Pokemon that represents an eerily similar vibe of Dialga was Hisuian Goodra back in the day. However, this Pokemon also had a similar issue of not having recovery despite its great stats and typing. Now obviously there's a difference, Tusk, Tinglu, etc. all those popular ground types are there in the tier versus UUbers, and in addition, Hisuian Goodra do not have as many good utility moves compared to Dialga, but the point still stands. The same situation can be applied to Dialga. Now of course, granted, the popular ground types aren't everywhere like before. It doesn't have reliable recovery to help it out. Its legendary stats, move pool, and typing, however, is the only saving grace to it. In addition, Dialga is able to also hold an item. Hey, I know many of my viewers right now watching are not subscribed, and that is a huge no-no. We recently hit 10k subscribers and we're trying to hit 20k by the end of this year, so if you like competitive Pokemon, be sure to subscribe for more. While Dialga can't recover HP normally, having that option to recover HP through the item Leftovers has been its only saving grace to help it out, even if it's minimally. If you check out every viable Dialga set in UUbers, Leftovers is mentioned once on all those sets. Dialga Origin, on the other hand, has to hold an item to improve its stats from base 100 special defense to 120. While it's true, it has the better defensive typing and more stabs on its Dragon and Steel type moves with its held item, it cannot hold any item it wants like its counterpart like Leftovers to recover HP. Even though 1/16 of HP might seem insignificant, every little bit of recovery can help a long way, and in most times or not, make or break whether or not you live that term because you have that extra HP. Origin form cannot recover HP as easily, and thus it is prone to taking more damage and easily being able to take it down from your side. Having better stats sure can help, but doesn't go a long way if you cannot maintain them on the field compared to its base form. That is not to say though this is completely useless. It serves well as a Trick Room user and abuser, as it's relatively slow in the tier and can dish out high powered offense with ease, especially with its held items. Pokemon like Zacian Hero form or Palkia Origin form who outspeeded prior to Trick Room now is subjected to being slower, power, giving Dialga the upper edge to take them out. Normal Dialga's wanting power like its origin form would be subjected to increasing its power through a life orb, which also chips away at its health while also not getting that defensive boost. Origin is also able to be more offensively imposing, but given everything else in the toolkit for Dialga, the defensive option in this metagame so far has been proven to be way more reliable. If the crystal also provided a recovery for it, then of course it would be 100 times better, but the fact is that it doesn't, and that's why it falls short to be that defensive anchor on many teams. The only viable niche it has is, like I said before, is to be that Trick Room sweeper, which I mean you can make it happen, but it just isn't that popular because hyper offensive teams are pretty good and Trick Room in singles is not the same as VGC. Now you might be wondering, why is Palkia Origin better than Palkia if it cannot recover at all? The difference is Palkia is way more focused on being an offensive powerhouse, and with the crystals able to increase its base speed, which is everything to an offensive Pokemon that it wants to be. An increase from 100 to base 120 speed now lets it outspeed things like Chi-Yu and Palafin, as well as having a speed tie now with Arceus. And when you combine that with its base to 150 with special attacking stat that is now boosted from a special item and a solid water and dragon typing with the great move pool, it is in a league of its own, and hence it is regarded as one of the top 3 Pokemon in the format. This Pokemon is designed to be more offensively imposing and free, giving its already higher speed in its base form compared to Dialga form, and now giving it a faster speed in its origin form allows it to build upon what this Pokemon was already meant to be originally as it was designed. Origin Palkia isn't designed to be played in a bulky utility fashion unlike its counterpart. It's supposed to be the next level hyper offensive Pokemon when we compare it to that bulky, slow, defensive, more methodical Dialga. Both base form and origin form Dialga are obviously good Pokemon, but in terms of what would you rather to have on your team, that is where the discussion really piles on. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this, and thank you to my members for their continued support. If you wish to support me even further on Patreon or YouTube, the links to the memberships are down below, and be sure to join the Chompy Discord. And with that, I'll catch you in the next video.